there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be another Paintisode. And so for those who haven't seen this, I feel I have this warning at the start of every video. I just have like a standard statement I put up. But really what this is all about is I'm going to be painting. Hopefully you listen to this while you're painting. And I'm just going to be talking about some Warhammer stuff, some other stuff. And at the end of the day, I have some things painted, you have some things painted, and I get to yap about stuff. So today, what we're going to be painting is I'm still working on my, I guess it'll be my third troll horde if you count the river trolls. Trying to get everything ready for Brawler Bash, and I'm doing these guys. They're all based off of the starter set model, and they're just simple hand swaps. Again, I had originally planned to be doing a lot more arm repositioning and leg repositioning, but really it was just snip off the hands in the rock, switch them from Minotaur weapons and open hands, and there you go, you're done. And, you know, it is a really simple and kind of cheap conversion, but you know what? It makes a hell of a difference. You know, now that I have enough of these ones converted, and I look at them as a unit, and I look back at the other one where they're all the same pose, it really, really makes a difference, and it is really nice. One of the things that was also nice to see is that in the last Paintisode, I painted up the one as a girl, so it has like the pigtails coming out and a pink bra and pink little loincloth, and I was starting to think to myself after, I was like, you know what? That's pretty lame, because again, like the only like it's the same thing with the rock. I just have like the pigtails and made it pink, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm probably gonna have to rip those off, repaint it, reconvert it. But no, people actually really like it. It was also part of that Siege game I just did, and yeah, I guess she's a keeper. As far as last time too, I asked for names for a female troll, and there were some good ones there. I mean, Trollette is still like the one that kind of comes first to my mind, but someone also, another one I liked was a suggestion for Trolly Boo Boo, which is, I like it. It's a little bit off from the Honey Boo Boo, so that some people might not get the reference. And like if I was to paint it on there, I don't know if, you know, like a couple of years from now, if people will get the reference on it. But, you know, I liked all the suggestions people gave me. Oh, Brush, don't be already dead at the start of a Paintisode. Oh, poor Brush. I think I complain about brushes every single time. I should just go and invest on like a bulk thing of brushes and just have it here so that every single Paintisode I'll just pull out another one. They can't be that expensive either if you buy them by bulk. It's not like I'm a master painter. They need to be perfect, right? As long as you are firm and small and straight, it's good to go. That's also how I like my women. You know, but boy, no, I'm already thinking I should restart that. I don't have anything against it. I have nothing against troll and troll love. You know, Trollette does not need to be part of it, right? I'm accepting. You know, to be fair, I've had like no female orcs and goblins in my armies for years. So you can only assume that those lonely orcs on those nights, and I don't care, you know, as long as you're winning your battles, it's all good for me. So anyway, still working on these guys. I am getting a little bit bored of just doing these standard trolls now. But then again, whenever I look at one of my other like more highly converted trolls from different sets, it's like, ugh, there's so much detail on there. I'm actually not even sure if I need to do any more. Like, this could be it. Like I said, like there's at least this one other one here that I converted, but I'm pretty sure that I can use Throg instead of him, and I'm done. So this could be the end of painting the troll hordes, which would be really nice. And then after that, I'm going to have to convert up. For those who don't remember what I have in my list, my leader is another wizarding hat, but I couldn't afford the orc war boss. So currently, that's the only wizarding hat I have done. So I'm going to have to make a goblin one. But you know what? I have some extra goblin shaman models from that large army deal I had gotten there. So, yeah, I'll just take one of those, put on a wizarding hat, and we're good to go. Or you know what? The thing is that with these night goblins, I can pretty much actually just take a night goblin shaman, and it's really easy to convert that to being a wizarding hat guy. For those who don't know, I just really take a head, flatten out some green stuff so you have like the flat part, and then I make the peak after. Well, night goblins already have kind of like that. Here's one right here. That peak, although you can't really see it, the peak hats anyway. So if I take that peak of a hat and just put like the part going out from it, done. Paint it up blue or whatever color I'd want to make it, and that's pretty easy and done. I mean, to be fair, one of the things I have to keep in mind with this conversion is this is probably going to be the only time I use it. It is way smarter to make it as the Orc War boss, because you have the better leadership and the better toughness and everything else. Like, you can actually like still be good. When somebody gets to my bunker, an Orc War boss still has the 3 strength or 4 strength 5 attacks, right? So he can hold his own. With the Choppa, that's 4 strength 6 attacks. So wizard hat or not, I don't need any other gear to still be pretty solid in combat. I can fight off the fast cav and things like that. A goblin war boss, that's a different story. All of a sudden, fast cav is a serious threat. But we're getting excited here. This is coming up. Brawler Bash is just around the corner. I mean, I got this weekend, which is my I'm going to be busy because I have my son's birthday party, even though his birthday was a couple of weeks back. Just couldn't get the family together. And then the next weekend, that's it. I'm off and I'm gone, and it's time to play a bunch of games. So it's getting here really quick. What else have I done this guy? I want to finish this model, and then I'm going to show you what I decided for my gift for Once Bitten. Like I've said in the past many times, he's a great guy, and he is totally taking care of me while I'm there, picking me up and all the rest of it. And so I always try, well, always, this is the second time, I don't want to be just like, oh, thanks, man, and then just kind of take off. I want to do something back to kind of show my appreciation. So last year I made the Minotaur that was with the Mega Minotaur model, which if he wants to have a Doom Bull or whatever with the flying cape, the magic carpet, there you're good to go. And this one here, okay, if you're Once Bitten, and I'm pretty sure actually Once Bitten doesn't watch these Paintisodes, but if you are watching Once Bitten, stop, skip ahead about 5 minutes and don't look at the screen, and then you'll be fine. But I decided that I am going to go with the Karl Franz thing. I'm pretty sure he's not going to have one. He had used them for a while, and it wasn't really working out the way that he had hoped. So I know he likes the idea of it. He just doesn't really have a model for it. And so I did is I picked up this kit. Now, from this, he'll have the option to have Karl Franz on the actual Griffin, Deathclaw, whatever his name is. And then at the same time, I have one of my horses, which is a conversion one from like the Green Knight horse, and the head comes from the Valton horse. And so he'll have the steed, he'll have this, and he just has to put the rider on whatever version he wants to put on. I'm guessing he's probably never going to go with this, but hey, at least he'll have that option. And one of the things I started thinking of too is like, well, I could go and I could take this and I could put it together, but then all of a sudden it's going to be a pain for me to try and bring over, right? Because remember, I'm flying there, having to pack up all my stuff. Plus, I'm sure I'm a little bit more careless the way I glue models together than he does. I usually don't file off any mold lines or anything. So I'm going to move this away in case he joins back now and watches. But I'm just going to bring that. It feels a little bit cheap, almost like I'm just giving him money. But, I think it's all for the best. It'll be easier to transport. He can make sure it's put together the way he likes. Maybe he wants to put on some like crazy scenic rock or something, right? So then he can do that. And, yeah, hopefully he gets some use out of it. And even if he doesn't, I'm sure like maybe he'll just sell it, right? He still has that option too. He's like, Malorian, you idiot! I'd never want that model. That's suicide to have Karl Franz on a Death Claw. Okay, sell him. He's still shrink wrapped. He's good to go. So or trade him. I don't know. I'm sure Atomic Empire must do trades in for guys like Once Bitten. I don't know. Still pissed off that Games Workshop doesn't do that anymore. If you don't have the receipt, sorry, can't trade those things in. Yeah, so there's that part. Another thing that kind of came up is I might have to find a new partner for the doubles. Shimmer Gloom has had some family things come up, so he might have to drop out because of that. And so we'll have to see. I told him it's no big deal. Family comes first. But it could be, I'm going to be begging Once Been like, okay, I know you plan to have the day before the tournament being just practice for the tournament and playing with subscribers, but hey, you want to be my doubles partner? Or, there'll be lots of guys there, and I'm sure even if it's the day of, if we say like, hey, Malorian's kind of a loser and doesn't have a partner, somebody want to go with him for the doubles tournament? I'm sure there'll be people there who will be more than happy to play in a doubles tournament with me. So I'm really not worried. Like I say, this is just a hobby. Family comes first. I've recently gone through my own family emergency thing, so I know all about it. So no worries. Of course, all of a sudden, then, Shimmer Gloom and myself had dozens of emails back and forth trying to work out your doubles strategy, because that's the big thing, right? In doubles, there's so many different shenanigans you can pull that you really want to talk them out. You can always do a doubles tournament for fun and be like, oh yeah, you bring something, I'll bring something, and we'll just see what happens. But usually, there's so many synergies you can be pulling out between the different armies that you might as well be trying to go for those, right? And so we had a pretty good plan set up. Would have been pretty interesting, but hey, hopefully everything's going to work out, and we'll still be playing anyway. This is a little bit awkward. This troll here is the one where I made both of his arms up above his head, so a little bit harder angles, but not too bad. And my brush is getting pretty frayed, so I'm kind of just slopping things on. I used to have a nice lamp in here, but I still haven't replaced it. I dropped it. Well, not dropped it. My fat ass, the cord caught on my leg there and smash. So I bring in another lamp. Klutzy old Malorian broke that one too. So now I have to always make sure I do my Paintisodes as soon as I get home, so I at least have some good sunlight coming in. And it's not hard for me just to go out and buy another lamp. I'm just so lazy. Normally, unless I'm needing to get something like gas or food, or I'm going to the hobby store, oh, that's an Orc Tactical Team done. I'm one of those, well, this is up, it's kind of like the work camp, right? I'm only up here because this is where I work. So I don't have a lot of extra friends up here or people that I hang out with, and I don't know, there's not really a lot else to do up here either. So excuse me as I quickly start saving the second Orc Tactical Team. I don't know if you guys are getting tired of the Wood Elf talk either. I know a lot of people are. Oh man, I started saving before it loaded. Stop, stop, yes, stop. Might be good if I load in the video first before I start saving. Anyway, a lot, of course, the talk right out there now is about the Wood Elves. But hey, the Wood Elves have been the redheaded stepchild for so long, not really getting much love, especially after T.M. Richards stopped making battle reports and things. Still have never heard what really happened to him. For those who never have heard of him, he was from the UK. He was a very competitive Wood Elf player and did fairly well with him. He really did. He never really played for fun. He would always, I wouldn't want to say win at all cost, but he'd have no problem. Like Double Flea was his number one shtick, and to him, then I totally agree with him. If that's what your army needs to do to win, all right, do it, right? But like I said, he stopped doing everything. Just all of a sudden, he deleted his channel, deleted his accounts everywhere, and he's gone. So it's always sad to see those things happen. Another one here I've been noticing is that Mr. Reef, he used to always do lots of Beastman reports, and so he was like the guy to go to if you want to see any Beastman YouTube stuff. And there's other channels out there, but he was probably one of the more prolific of them. Maybe that's the right word. He was funny and stuff. But now he's getting a lot into other games. So on his channel, he always does some longer videos. Like he just put one out now that's like 3.5 hours long, and he'll chat a little bit about Warhammer. But for the most part, lately, he's been doing other games. So not so much the Games Workshop stuff, not fantasy. He'll be doing bolt action and like the World War II type games as well, right? So if you guys want to support these guys and make sure they keep on making them, you should go over to the channels and say like, hey, where's the reports? I missed the Beastman, and he'd let's clean off that brush. I'm gonna try taking care of this brush, see if that's gonna help at all. But he'd actually start goofing around and doing things like double jabber slice and stuff like that. And he's kind of the opposite of T.M. Richards. So whereas if you ever looked to like the tournament prep for T.M. Richards, he's talking about like really like this is the players pack, this is what the comp was, and this is how I was going to try and get the most out of the comp. For Mr. Reef and his buddy Martin there, it's like, yeah, we just kind of went there and we were hoping there weren't too many jerks, right? We just went to play for fun. So, it's always nice to get a mix of those battle reports, watching some where they come from the really tactical side and they're really breaking down what they were doing and what their plans were. And then the other side where, hey, I took 2 jabber slice because I can. And just because they suck doesn't mean I can't take them and try and make them work. So, always glad to see that stuff. But like I said, go over, look up Mr. Reef, and say, we want more Beastmen. If he's going to do one 3 or 4 hour video every month or so, we want to see 2 Beastmen reports, or 3, or something like that, right? But that's always a big thing, is trying to support guys. Another one, too, that I normally didn't watch, but has been getting a lot of support, and I thought, what, I should do my part, too, and support it, is Lord Tremendous. Don't know if you guys have heard of him or watched his stuff. He actually has a fairly decent number of subscribers, but he mainly does Warriors of Chaos. Usually his Lord is named Lord Tremendous, and I would say it's very akin to the stuff that Luke Davis does, where it's more, he has a lot more energy going into it. He's having fun with it. He'll have little things written on the screen, as things happen, making little jokes and stuff. So, really enjoyable to watch. But one of the things there is that the videos are a bit longer. You'll be looking at them and it'll be like like a 15-minute runtime type thing, pretty much, right? So, it's a big time investment. And I mean, one of the things that I have a problem with is that right now I am watching a lot of different YouTube channels between the Warhammer and the War Machine, and then also I watch a lot of comedy stuff on there too, and movie reviews. It takes up a lot of time. So, I mean, one of the things I'll admit is that in the past I would watch the stuff from Lord Tremendous, and then I would have to say like, well, I just can't invest that time. The stuff might be really good. Come on, work. Sorry. but I just couldn't watch them because I didn't have the time. But lately, I've been making sure that I do, and like I say, it's all really good reports. I just didn't have time for it, and there's a lot more people out there too where I would love to watch more of their stuff. They make good reports, but I'm already watching, say, 5 different channels that cover orcs and goblins or something like that, right? So I always try not to be hypocritical about it, right? Like, I mean, that's why I'm doing the Around the World in 12 Games, and that's why I started up the Warhammer YouTubers Google Plus page, is because I want people to be exposed to all the different work that's out there. And just because, I don't have time for all of them, it's a lot better if people can see what's out there, and so they can pick out their favorites too, right? Like one of the ones that actually kind of gave me a little sad face is Vol SC. He's a guy I used to watch all the time, and he used to do lots and lots. Okay, for starters, he used to do a lot of StarCraft stuff, so he really had a lot of subscribers. Then he did a lot of fantasy battle reports with High Elves and with Tomb Kings, and then with the Warriors of Chaos. And then he just went to strictly War Machine. So his subscribers have been going down. But one of the things you can look on people's channels is see what they're subscribed to. And on there, I was wondering, I wonder, because, for a while there, he's even talked to me about, because he's off in Australia, or is it New Zealand, where over there it's stupid expensive to get some models. So he was going to arrange for me to pick up a model for him and then send it to him. And I had no problem with that, right? So I thought, maybe, if he's going to message me, maybe he watches my stuff. But no, sad face. He watches Once Bitten, which, again, he was a guy that was, I'm talking about Vol, really strategy-minded. And so even though I would say I was a lot more like that in 7th, I know now in 8th, I'm more, a lot of times, just doing things just to be goofy. And so I can see where he would lose interest in the stuff I was doing. So, sad face. Someone doesn't like Malorian. But you know what? That's the way it is. There's a lot of stuff that's out there, and I don't expect everyone to like my reports. So the least I can do then for the community is say, hey, you may not like my stuff, but here's this other guy, right? Maybe you don't like my Orc and Goblin reports. Maybe you should go check out Luke Davis. Stuff like that. So, also glad to see that the Warhammer Weekly is still going. That's the one that's on the Long Island Wargaming. They actually missed last week. Anthony from the Sustainable Center was supposed to be on there, but they had some scheduling conflicts. And now I'm wondering actually how they're going to keep it going too, because Tyler from TNT, he moved to the UK. So, all of a sudden that makes a lot more issues for trying to do scheduling and all the rest of it. So hopefully Tyler will be able to stay on there. He was brought a lot of comedy to it. And if not, hopefully they keep going or try and find somebody else. But again, that's another great one where they'd be doing reviews of other people's channels, other people's work. And it just really helps keep the community together and keep things running. So again, just like I said, you should go over to Mr. Reef and say, hey, we want more battle reports for Beastmen. Go over to either Long Island Wargaming, or you can go over to the TNT Wargaming, or you can go to Whoopi Womp's channel and say, hey, we want more Warhammer Weekly, or just show your support. Right? I mean, it's weekly. It's not like they're going to see that and change it to Warhammer Daily or something, but, seeing that support gives the people the inspiration to keep going, the motivation. I had a nice email that I got, kind of that where all it was a PM, and I get these messages all the time, and people are saying hey, check out my channel, or hey, what should I do for this army list, or something like that. And I reply back and I give my thoughts on whatever it is. But this one here just said, hey, Malorian, you're awesome. It's even more awesome that you're also a dad. Stay awesome. It's just oh, okay, thanks. It's a little stuff like that that just really gives you that boost. But one of the things I was also, I guess, if I try and stick to topics for things that I want to talk about during this Paintisode was this kind of the idea of, again, I mean, I've touched on this sometimes before, but the idea of if you are going to do a channel and you are going to do battle reports, some of the things you should really make sure you have in there. I'm not going to name names during this or anything like that, but I'm just going to touch on some of the common problems that people have in their videos. Just so that, if you're watching this and you're making your own battle reports, or if you're thinking about making battle reports, these are things you should keep in mind so that, if you just cover these simple things, your battle reports are so much better. So I would say the number one thing that you need to make sure that you do with your battle reports is enjoy what you're doing. And it really comes across. And that sounds kind of dumb and kind of cheesy, but really it's the whole idea where you need to have that energy. You want to listen to a report and know that they're enjoying it, because then it makes you enjoy it all the more, right? And that really just comes down to the people that are sometimes monotone, or they're really just matter of fact, like, then it's turn one, I charge, I'm going to defeat them, I'm going to overrun. It's a lot more entertaining for the people who are in there and they're like, yeah, I got off this charge, I was really worried because if this breaks, I'll probably lose the game. And then not only did they break, but I actually overrun far enough to get to this other unit. And it's awesome, and this is why I love Forsaken, or whatever, right? And it's not really that I'm saying that some people are just boring. It's really that a lot of people have their pride, tied up. Like, I don't want to sound like a weirdo. I don't want to go out there and be like, oh man, this guy must have ADHD because he's just going off the handle and going crazy. So they will actually be more reserved. I know I did that. If I go back and I watch my first videos, I absolutely see that in my own work, where I came into it, I was like, you know what, this is going to be serious. I'm going to go and I'm going to tell people the right way to do things, and I'm going to be taken seriously, and I don't want to make any mistakes. And so I was a lot more methodical. Maybe that's a better word for it than monotone, but it didn't really come across very well that I was enjoying what I was doing. It wasn't until later where I was just like having fun with it. And it probably has something to do with having enough experience with it where you're just now having fun with it type thing. But like I said, if you are new or thinking about getting into it, that'd be my number one thing, is just throw pride to the side and just enjoy what you're doing, right? We're all doing, I mean, it's not a lecture on how to do accounting, right? Like, for the most part, people aren't watching battle reports because they want to learn. They're watching them for their own enjoyment, right? It's during a break, something like that. And, they could be going off to some other channel or some other website and watching porn or something, but no, they decided that I'm going to go and get my entertainment from watching your battle report. So make it entertaining. And the easiest way to do that is just to have fun with it and just let loose. It's not like if you're overly serious or if you make a mistake. Because trust me, I've made my fair share of mistakes. It's not like people are hunting me down and they're going to burn me at the stake because I make a mistake. The worst they're going to do is they're going to post a comment, right? And hell, if you really were bothered about people making negative comments about you, go and, disable comments or go and delete the ones you don't like. But even that, I think that would go into my second thing, which is be interactive with your viewers. If people are taking the time to watch your battle reports and make comments, comment back on them. Let them know that there's a reason to comment on them. When people do searches and they're looking for videos, it's going to be organized by how many views and how many likes and how many comments they have. And so if you can encourage more people to be interactive with you, it's better for you statistically. Plus, it's better for you as a player as well. I mean, if it wasn't for me posting up these battle reports and videos, and making the mistakes. And people saying, Malorian, actually, you have to ambush. It's not an option. Well, now I know this stuff. Otherwise, I would be going into my games and going into tournaments and doing this, and I'd be telling other people this is how it works, and it's just bad for everyone. Counter to that is, like, no, I now know this is how it's supposed to work, and so now I can correct myself. I can play things right in the future. I'm a better player for it, for people correcting me. And again, what pride is there to be lost, right? Everybody makes mistakes. Once Bitten makes mistakes, Vola C made mistakes, TM Richards made mistakes. Everybody does, right? So don't be so critical on yourself and trying to force yourself to be perfect. And then as well, you'll be hearing the things on there. Like I said, people will have the comments for you, and you'll learn more. So make sure you read those and be interactive with them. As well, a lot of times you can use your comments as a safety net. There has been several times where I'd post up a video and something would screw up, right? Like maybe the sound didn't load correctly, or maybe I did make not just like a minor mistake, but a major mistake that I just really don't want out there. Because again, it's not just so much a thing where people will see me as wrong, but worse yet, some people might see me as right, and I'm teaching people the wrong thing. So as soon as I see that comment being dropped, boom, I drop the video, pull it off, fix it, and then upload it again. And if it wasn't for me getting those comments and people saying, you kind of screwed up here, Malorian, I wouldn't know. If I was one of those people that disabled comments on my videos, I would just have these things out there. And new players would open up the video and they would think the various wrong things I've said over the years. So it's always funny, too, where sometimes I'll get comments on really old videos, and I'll be corrected on those. Like, hey, Malorian, this doesn't work like this at all. You totally screwed this up. And it's like the Army book review for like 2 editions ago. I always wonder sometimes if when a new Army comes out, if I should be pulling those videos. But it's just more work for me. And I really assume that when people do searches, that especially when it's on information on a game that they know changes, that they look at the date. If the date is 2008, maybe you should take that advice with a grain of salt. But anyway, we're talking about tips for new battle reporters. Another one is the sound. And I really suffered from this one too when I first started up my channel. And that's just because the way that I had my computer set up, the sound wasn't done correctly. And so the sound came across really, really quiet. And that can just be a huge turnoff for people watching the battle reports. Because if you can't really hear what's being said, you'll just lose interest and you'll go somewhere else, right? And it's so easy to do. In my case, I had a separate mic that I was using, and I would have the mic like right in front of my face, and so I'd assume that if I'm talking at a normal thing, normal volume, it'll come across normal. But my computer was set up so that it was recording from like the little tiny thing on the desktop or laptop, and not from the actual microphone I set up, right? And because of that, people would have to put my videos on maximum volume and still have trouble hearing, right? So go back and listen to those and see what your volume is like, and make sure that it's all working correctly. Because that's such an easy, simple thing, and yet can have such a huge effect on how people view your battle report. With that as well, it's nice to add little extras, like say music, right? Some people will go through and while they're doing their video, they have music playing in the background, or maybe during the intro or the outro, you'll have music there as well. And the 2 problems you sometimes have with that is, one, when you're having the music in the background, it can be too loud and it makes it hard to hear. So it's actually, again, taking away from you. So you can have good volume, but because the music's also very loud, it makes it hard to actually hear what's going on. And that's a really easy thing to do. I mean, depending on what movie editor you're using, you can just go in there and just modify the volume of either component either way, right? So again, and that might be something that people will just say in your comments, right? Too quiet, or the music was too loud. That's another one too. Sometimes people have it'll be set up so like during the regular talking, it's really quiet and it's really hard to hear them. And then all of a sudden it gets to the outro, it's like, oh my god! You know, so you gotta kind of watch for that too. For a while, mine was really bad for that. I still think that my music is a little bit too loud as well, but it used to be a lot worse. I've already taken steps to fix that to to a degree at least. Oh yeah. Another one, of course, is when you're making your videos, try and keep them to an okay length. I'm trying to think now that I covered this not too far ago, but try and keep them to something where it's just. Oh, and I'm starting to. Am I really boring you guys with this? I'm trying to think that I covered this in the Paintisode not too long ago. Alright, we're going to abandon ship. I can't unpaint these and start the video again, so we're going to abandon ship and keep going. There's that part of pride. You know, Malorian's just going to have to swallow this one and say, hey, you know what? I think I screwed this up, and I covered this not too long ago. So sorry for those who have been like, God, Malorian, you talk about this all the time. I mean, I'm always trying to be mindful for that. One of the problems with these Paintisodes is that it's really just me for an hour just going, blah, and talking about whatever I have on my mind, right? So unfortunately, I know sometimes I talk way too much about brawlers and stuff like that, so I gotta try and change those things up. But I could talk a little bit more about Bretonnians, actually. Anthony, who's always watching the rumors really closely, was pointing out that it looks like July will be where the Bretonnians come out. So that's going to be really interesting to see what they're going to be doing with them. There really is a lot of different ways they can take it. Apparently, there's already a lot of different multi-kits coming out, which it makes sense because, I mean, the knights are fairly close to each other. And there's no reason why they had to be completely different sculpts for all these different things, or some being metal and stuff. Questing and Grail Knights going to plastic, stuff like that. New character kits coming out, so it'll be really neat to see what new elements they add, what they keep. I mean, at this point here, I'm sure. I mean, if it's coming out in July, it's already written, right? It's already out there. It's already done. I really wish somebody. It was like the old days where GW leaked this stuff, not a week before release, but just really wondering what's going to be happening with them. For those who don't know, I did get rid of my Bretonnians, gave them to a friend of mine, which was just for the best, and I really hope it won't be, no matter what, I'm sure I'm going to read the new book, and I'm going to regret giving away my Bretonnians, and I'm going to miss them. But then I'm going to remember what a nightmare it was to paint even just one night. And then I'll feel better about it. And I'll think, you know what? That's okay. I can live through Once Bitten and Anthony and other people and watch them play their Bretonnians with their well-painted armies. And I won't so much miss my silver and gray dudes. At least I got to go through that whole campaign, the whole Bretonnian campaign. So it's not like they sat in the cupboard collecting dust for years and then just kind of like disappeared in the night type thing. At least they got they had their time. They had their shot. Oh, screwed up a little bit there. Oh, frayed brush. How angry you make me. But anyway, the painting on these trolls are coming along. We're already at 40 minutes, so don't know if I'll finish them in time. Should be close. Where's the wood? But with the Bretonnians as well, of course, again, I'll be doing my army review here again. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more prompt on it. I know the Wood Elf one I was a few days late. Even then, you know, why should I need to apologize for a few days late? But it'll be interesting to see what other people do too. Like, I'm sure that Anthony is going to do a book review on it, and you know, he's really playing lots of Bretonnians, so it's always good to see the input there. It'd be nice if Once Bitten started doing army book reviews, you know, because like I said, he's another person that really comes at the game from the tactical side of it, right? It's very rare that he takes an army just for fun, right? So, you know, those people like that always do very good book reviews. So maybe that's what you guys should do. You should go and write on Once Bitten's channel and say, hey, man, we want a Bretonnian book review when it comes out. I'm sure he'd do it if people asked for it. You know, he's always trying to figure out different things to put on there. He did like his magic tactical reviews and stuff like that. So, you know, book reviews should be right up his alley if people just asked for it. And then, of course, I'm going to have to feel bad because then people are going to be playing Bretonnians, and I'm going to have to kill them with my orcs and goblins. It's like killing your brother. But you got to do what you got to do, right? Orcs are the best. Especially with if I keep on running these troll hordes. Blah. Oh, no armor save for you. That's so sad. Plus, I wonder what's going to go on with their blessing. Especially after the Wood Elves, you know, they had their trees. You know, they used to always have a 5+ ward, and now it's just a 6+ ward. So, is the blessing for the Bretonnians, is that going to be reined in as well? You know, is GW really, is that like one of their mandates right now that are wanting to rein in all the ward saves? Which could be a reaction from the High Elves. You know, the High Elves come out, and it's like, wow, there's ward saves for days, right? Not only do you have units that seem to have random ward saves like the Dragon Princes, but you also have you know, their whole ability to make the ward saves even better. So maybe now with the other books, they're trying to rein that in a little bit. But at the same time, it's really important to have that on the Bretonnians to keep them safe. You know, that whole thing of how you have to pray and lose the first turn, and how that interacts with some of the missions, such where like Watchtower, where you know sometimes play it where okay, I control you control the Watchtower, so I should have the first turn. But I'm Bretonnians, so I have to pray. So not only do you control the Watchtower, but you get to march that horde towards it for free as well. So, you know, they really need to do something there to correct for that. Just don't know what they're going to do with it. You know, I'm sure you could even just say there's no praying needed. You know, you're Bretonnians, you have the blessing, and if you ever break, then you lose it, right? There's no need to mess with this first turn stuff. But like I say, there's so many different ways you can deal with it. You know, maybe you gain the ward save as you do things, right? So maybe they start off with no ward save or a 6+ ward save, and then for every unit they destroy or break in combat, that ward save goes up. You know, they could do something like that. That could be interesting. And of course, I was wondering what new units they'll add. Well, actually, we know what new units they're going to add. There was already part of that. Well, okay. We know what the rumor said the new units are going to be, and that's those foot knights. They could have maces and stuff like that and swords. So, we'll be seeing those guys come along. It'll be good for them to have their access to hordes. Like they just did that with Wood Elves, right? Where now they have the Rangers, where they can actually have their horde of great weapon guys. Now all of a sudden, you know, the Bretonnians won't have to rely on your crappy men-at-arms to be like, yeah, they're our infantry powerhouse. Really hope I get some magic off, otherwise they're screwed. But the trolls are coming along. I'm pretty much down to the point where I have to just do a couple more colors and then clean up, which is good because, like I say, I'm starting to run out of time. I always try and keep these pretty close to an hour. Otherwise, it's just like I was talking about with the other stuff, right? If people see my Paintisode and go like, ugh, 3 hours? No thanks. Although it is, again, good to see the people saying, you know what? I have a lot to paint, and these Paintisodes really help me get them done. So, always nice to see that. We'll have to see what I'm going to be painting after I'm done these trolls. You know, I might go back and start painting some War Machine stuff. I'm sure you guys wouldn't care, right? Even my viewers that don't like the War Machine game, I'm sure you aren't watching my Paintisodes to see what I paint, right? I'm sure for the most part it's just to hear me yap and see what stupid thing I say next. But we got stuff here to paint. Although I might need a break from Orcs and Goblins after this. Although, man, there's still so many Orcs and Goblins to paint. You know, I have the Orcs with the double choppas I gotta paint. I got my Orcs with my spears and my shields I wanted to paint. Eventually, I still want to paint my Cav models, right? Can't really see them. They're the old stubby guys. You know, I really want to get them done. Night Goblins, I got hordes of them. Literally hordes of them. You know, like regular Goblins, I still have that unit I never painted up. That'll be my biggest regret, I think. If I, right now, it seems like, well, the rumors are that there's going to be Bretonnians, 9th, and then Orcs and Goblins would be the first book, which would be awesome. But if it comes to 9th, and I never got to use the nasty Skulkers before they get changed to something else, that would be bad. So I should probably make sure I do that. My next game, take my Goblins, I have them set up with shields and hand weapon, put in my Skulkers, and man, I don't even know where they are anymore. I know the Goblins are up in like a box up with other stuff. I hope the Skulkers are in there too. Cool models. And really cool idea, but you just never see them. You know, it's just the whole idea that the Night Goblins are cheaper. You just see that stuff all the time. Meanwhile, you hear people complaining then the opposite, like, oh, you know, Orcs and Goblins, we don't have any always strike first, right? Unless we take magic items or special characters, we don't get these fancy always strike first. Everyone else does. You have your nasty Skulkers. You know, if you really want to do that sneaky killing before the opponent gets to go, you have those guys. And they're really cheap for what they do too, right? 10 points for a nasty Skulker. You know, it still is ridiculous, right? Either you could have a unit champ for 10 points, or you could have this nasty Skulker who is always strike first, and he has killing blow. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Skulker. It'd be kind of cool, too, if it wasn't limited to just having 3 Skulkers. Just the idea of having, like, okay, I get into your unit of Goblins, and the entire front rank of the Horde is just 10 Skulkers. Yeah! And they just go killing everything. Oh, there we go. Second Orc Tactical team done. That's how easy it is if you're a lazy Malorian who does his videos during a Paintisode. I'm actually surprised how many Orc Tactical teams I have. I believe that one there was like 229 or something. But man, there's just always something to talk about. You know, Orc Tactical teams aren't ones where like, oh, I haven't done an Orc Tactical team in a while, I better throw something in. There just is always something to talk about. I mean, between always having new books coming out, so you need to cover their things, or how those books then interact with existing things, or just new tactics I've seen, there's just always something to talk about. With us that well, though, too, is that if you ever want me to talk about something else, just let me know. Although I'm starting to think that I could probably even wrap in those Orc Tactical teams into these Paintisodes. Probably help me keep on topic and not rambling off about things nobody cares about or the things I just talked about last Paintisode. But at the same time, I'm sure the people that want to listen to the Orc Tactical teams, they're probably not all the people that want to listen to these long Paintisodes either. So, yeah, probably best to keep it separate. I was actually just re-watching the video Once Bitten did on me, where it was a parody and talking about how it's Orc Tactical Team like 6,000 or something. We'll have to see. I mean, I thought it was crazy when I got to 100, and then when I got to 200. If I ever got to 1,000 or something, it's probably time for me to stop. I'm actually surprised that I don't see anyone else doing tactical videos on those. I mean, like, people do their army reviews and like the one-offs and stuff like that, but just the idea of like a more routine thing where we're going to take this tactical aspect and we're going to talk about it. You know, on the 40K side, you see lots of these. On the fantasy side, there's pretty much nothing. So there you go. Again, if you're trying to come up with a channel idea or trying to figure out what you want to do, you know, do tactical videos. Again, you know, you might say something wrong now and then, but hey, it's just good to get that discussion going, and if nothing else, you'll learn from it. Sometimes it's a little embarrassing for me where it's like, yeah, come see Malorian, Orc Tactical Team. I'm going to teach you the right way to play. I just totally derp it. I screw up some rule. But hey, you know, then I learn it and then I don't do it wrong during my battle reports. All right. Coming along. I always like doing the fingernails of trolls. They're so big and easy to do. And then you feel good, like I do details. There's actually a lot of people that don't bother with fingernails on models. And I actually don't do it for a lot of my armies. But orcs and goblins, apparently they're the only army that has... Well, to be fair, I guess dwarves and stuff are usually have their arms inside, or hands inside gloves and stuff like that. There's not many armies that they're just, you know, flesh hands or whatever. I know I'm missing some bone. Right, there's a... For some reason, there's a skull on the back of this axe. Going, ah! It's kind of an odd decoration, too. You know, if the skull was on the front of the axe, then okay, I guess you, like, chopped the guy's head, and, you know, and they got stuck there or whatever. But no, this is on the back of the axe. So maybe he killed the guy with the backswing. However, it's attached at the bottom. So unless you, like, went up his body and got stuck on his head there, that means that this must be a decoration, right? He killed a dude, threw his head on the back of this axe here. But that would imply that these axes come standard with trophy spikes on the back, just so you can be putting skulls on there. And if you're swinging around an axe, assumably forward, that would mean the axe or the skull is going to fall off going backwards. We're probably putting way too much thought into this. But hey, when you're focusing on models and painting them, you notice these silly little details. Oh, forgot to do that gold. One of the things I'm also trying to change up with this one as well is that these starter set trolls all have like little medallions on their front, which we've joked about in the past. But in the first unit I made of these guys, the first horde, all of them were the same color. And now I'm trying to color them like different colors of metals. So there's some silver ones, some really shiny silver ones, some gold ones, some bronze ones, just again to make it so that the unit's a little bit different. That's what I forgot. I forgot the tooth. I know I forgot something. Random tooth on our necklace. There we are. Once this is done, I'm going to be pretty damn close to being done. As always, I hope you guys got some stuff done with this. I always like hearing what you guys got, what you guys were working on. Oh, there's that. Fingernails. I'm actually, again, also really looking forward to play with these trolls. I think it's just going to be just a hoot. You know, I got some people giving me flack because, oh yeah, taking the easy way out, just a bunch of hordes, or the other people saying, oh, you're gonna get destroyed because it's too much reliability. Nah, it's gonna be a blast. Especially too because I'm gonna be over there and I want to have fun, right? It's not like I just want to go over there and crush everybody. I am over there playing against people I'm going to just see for probably one time. And, I'd rather have fun with it. So if I can just be making things simple and just go like, rah, 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 moving guys up and gain it, spend that time having fun instead of like, how am I going to redirect this? I'm going to have to come through here. Just push them forward and kill guys, right? Have fun with it. I'm also wondering, too, going from the games to game, how many hordes I'm going to be losing over the tournament. I'm assuming that I'm probably going to lose one in every game. At least one. If I don't, then hey, I win. But it just takes a lot to defeat a troll horde. So the idea that, and probably another weakness, like they're probably going to usually try and kill. For those again, I might as well touch on this. I'm going to be running my army with 2 troll hordes and 1 river troll horde, and then also a savage orc biggin horde. Now, I'm assuming that a lot of times people are going to try targeting, getting points from 1 troll horde, the savage orcs, maybe some night goblins, and then just trying to redirect and avoid the other trolls, just because it's just too much to take on. But hey, like I saw the one guy that was taking like a couple of hordes of gut stars. We could do that. We could fight that out. I can tell you right now that without magic support, the trolls are going to win that, but we're just better. Or I guess if you had like flaming banner and stuff like in that there too, it could work out. Or if you had the dragon hat, the banner that makes it so I always strike last. Otherwise, I'm striking first. I'm going to kill a lot of ogres. Okay, what do we still have to paint on these guys? Silver. We have to fix the screwed up silver around the head that's randomly on the back of that axe. Da-da-da. Is that the wrong silver? No, I grabbed the wrong silver. Idioso. Oh well. I can only imagine how much worse this is for other people. Like, really, my palette of colors is this. I have this little container I bring around, and that's all the paints. And even there's a green in here I bought by mistake and stuff like that, right? I really don't use a lot of different colors. For the other people that probably have, like, 6 shades of every color to make sure they can blend and do all this stuff, I can only imagine the times they grab the wrong shade by mistake and, oh, damn it. And also the cost for that too, right? Trying to maintain already for myself. It's like, wow, when a couple of pots die, it's like, oh, there's another $10 down the drain. If you were to go and have all those different shades, man, you'd be having to spring for that stuff all the time. Just trying to upkeep your stock. That's one of the other unfortunate things that I can't believe that GW did. And I don't know if it's different in other areas, but here at least, what they used to do is you could go in and they have the GW paints there. And you could actually go in and use their paints and you could paint your models. Which, it's good for them. Like, in one case, or in one way of looking at it, it's just a straight up loss, right? You're just losing paint. But I'm sure to them, to buy these paints at whatever their base cost isn't that much. You're bringing players into the store, which means impulse buying. Plus, if they're painting things, that means they bought things, right? And then, of course, it's more of an interest to other people, right? It's one thing for them to be there and see people walk into the store and try to tell them that it's a great game and all this. And it's another for people to walk in and see other players, other gamers, and it's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Get this unbiased opinion, basically. But anyway, they around the same time, they decided, they weren't going to run their own GW tournaments anymore, they also said, hey, we're not going to have free paint at our stores anymore. And the one store here, the manager said, well, screw it. I'm going to go and I'm going to give out paints anyway. And he actually got in trouble for it. I couldn't believe it. So ridiculous. It's that whole thing where, a little bit more investment could mean so much. I mean, back in the days where I was going to GW official tournaments, right? And then they decide, nope, we're not going to run tournaments anymore. Or we're just going to be running Ard Boys. And then, nope, we're not even doing Ard Boys anymore. It's really, really unfortunate. Like, I mean, if they were to do one thing going forward, they should really start running their events again. I mean, for starters, they could then enforce and say, hey, you want to play in our tournaments, you got to buy our models, right? You can't go to whatever other third model company type thing. No, you have to get these models from us. So from right there, they could probably justify the cost of it. Plus, it's not like they're running the tournaments for free. Then you're also drumming up more interest. But hey, you know what? With them having more and more pressures as, games like Privateer Press are starting to steal some of their customers, at some point they're going to have to start making those harder decisions. Like, are we going to drop costs to start selling more, or are we going to start running our own events? How are we going to change to make sure that we compete? So I'm hoping that's one of the early ones, right? Let's be more interactive with our customer base. Let's open back up the Games Workshop forums again, the forum. That was also another crazy one. I couldn't believe they did, closing that down. If nothing else, just the ability to say, the amount of money that other companies spend on polling their customer base to see what they like, what they don't like. Well, hell, just run your own forum, right? And people will go on there and they will tell you for free what they like and what they don't like. You can control it. But no, they just got rid of it. I'm starting to worry that I'm getting a little bit too much of a jaded gamer. Just getting salty and just like, back in my day. I don't know. It could be also just because I'm worried. I keep on mentioning that 8th coming out and this whole idea about how you could just be taking allies all the time and how in 40K you don't need to stick to your organization chart anymore. I mean, just think of that in fantasy, right? If they told you, I think I talked about this last time as well too, but just quickly, the whole idea where you have to have one general, but apart from that, take your points from whatever you want. There'll be a bonus, like something like, I don't know what the bonus was, like if you actually follow the 25% rules and stuff, that you get this. But man, just the idea that somebody would be taking like, oh, I brought 8 Terrorgeists. Deal with it. Oh, if that happens in fantasy, it will be a dark day. Hopefully that's not going to happen. Seems like there's a real difference there between 40K and fantasy. On the 40K side, I really see a lot more people wanting to do things like Apocalypse, where it's like, oh yeah, I was going to bring all these crazy things. I'm just going to bring, like a bunch of tanks. I'm just going to do this. Whereas in fantasy, people are more looking for balance all the time, right? They don't want these crazy games with just everything there. They just want more balance. And hopefully GW sees that difference and then, builds and writes accordingly. So I'm at the point now where I'm putting on the wash, so we really are getting near to the end of the Paintisode. Something else I'd like to hear now is start getting some more feedback on the Paintisode in general. I really didn't expect this to be something I was going to be doing routinely. it started off as a Sambuca-sode, right? Just something where uh, I would sit around and I would have some Sambuca and I'd talk about stuff. And then all of a sudden, people kind of liked it, and I might as well do it while I'm painting anyway. So I keep doing it. And one of the things I think it's about time I do is ask you guys for feedback. Do you like the format? Is there something that is annoying? Is there some ways I could improve? Would it be better if I came to these with a set thing topics I want to talk about? Or do you like the fact that it's just, fast and loose and just whatever is on my mind? So it'd be good to hear that stuff now, because I don't know how many Paintisodes we've done now. It's probably around 8-ish or something. So, like I said, I'd like to hear that feedback, so I can keep doing these Paintisodes. I mean, while I'm up here in Fort Mac, during my prison time, basically, while I'm waiting to go back home to my family while I'm working, I might as well do these Paintisodes, especially here on the Tuesday, right? The gaming store is closed anyway, so I might as well do these Paintisodes. So realistically, I could keep on having one of these for you guys every single week, if you like them. So let me know. I mean, it's not just a thing, like I said, it's not just the fact that maybe you like it. Let me know how you want me to improve. So if I can make it better, piece of cake. Here we go. So close. Can't wait to actually have the whole horde and I get to watch see it all together. This idea of making this converted troll horde, this is a long time coming. I've been wanting this for a long time. Yeah, actually, something of a more personal note is tomorrow I actually have an interview, which is a very promising one, which could bring me back home and make me escape this prison, basically. And that would be huge. I mean, not just for myself, where, hooray, I actually get to see my family every day, but also for you guys as viewers, because once I'm back in Edmonton, I can start getting a lot more fantasy games. Like I keep saying, fantasy is kind of dying out here, and I'm having a hard time trying to get games. Once I'm back in Edmonton, I can get games all the time. Plus, I won't feel bad about it either, right? Right now, because like I said, I only see my family on the weekends. Whenever I arrange a gaming day or something like that, it's like, well, I'm directly taking this away from the time I spend, the very limited time I spend with my family. Once I'm there, it's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, right? Gaming nights every weekend, at the store every whatever. So, cross your fingers out there in internet land. If you want more Malorian Battle Reports, this is good for all of us. If you don't like Malorian Battle Reports, well then, first of all, I don't know why you're even watching this, but, I guess you could always try and sabotage it. Start phoning every employer in Edmonton, just hoping to get the right one, saying, hey, do you know Malorian? He's a rapist. Don't hire that guy. Because I don't want to have any more Battle Reports. That'd be awful. All we want is Paintisodes. Oh no! Hand just slipped and I just messed up some of my wash. Oh. Now I just got to make sure it's not pooling, so I don't have big, huge areas of black. Kind of like right here on the skull. And then we're going to be done. And then as usual, after this, I'm going to base it, and I'll take pictures of my crappy work, and I'll add it to the end of this video so you can see just how crappy of a painter I am. I wouldn't want to mislead someone, right? I wouldn't want people out there to say like, hey, that Malorian, he does a lot of Paintisodes. He must be really good at painting. So anyway, I am done. Oh, that's why the wash wasn't going on, right? I was using the wrong brush. Anyway, that's this Paintisode. Thanks for watching. Again, I'd love to hear what you guys were painting. I'd love if you guys went to those channels I was talking about, Mr. Reef, and also to, oh, no, I forgot the other ones I was telling you to go to. It's Mr. Reef to say more. And it was also to go to Long Island Gaming or TNT or Whoopie Womp and say, hey, keep up those Warhammer weeklies. And anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. And give me some feedback on these Paintisodes so I know which way to take them. And we'll catch you later. Bye.